Hi, I'm Kurt Radecki. Welcome to Network Bits, where we demonstrate networking and network security topics in short videos. Today is part 4 of demonstrating options and considerations for VPC service controls. In part 1, we covered the setup of the environment. In part 2, we ran some basic commands from VMs to reach BigQuery and cloud storage. In part 3, we focused on machines from outside GCP, reaching BigQuery and cloud storage. Now in part 4, we're going to focus on reaching these services within the GCP console. So let's take first step, where we're going to try to create a new data set in BigQuery and also try to create a new cloud storage bucket. You'll see that now that we have a VPC Service Controls perimeter in place, we're actually not able to operate these services within the console. So BigQuery, in fact, if I refresh this screen, you'll notice that the dataset 1 will go away. I'm no longer able to see the dataset 1, and when I go to create a dataset, let's call it dataset 2, I'll get an error message that looks like this. This, again, is expected behavior, believe it or not, though it takes some by surprise. So expected behavior is that we won't be able to get to these services within the GCP console. That seems like a pretty big deal, so how do we fix that? Well, let's take a look at that. But first, we're going to remove cloud storage from the service perimeter just to show that once we remove it from the service perimeter, and make our setup, you can see that cloud storage is no longer down here, make our setup look just like what you see in this diagram, that we will now be able to reach cloud storage in the GCP console. So if I come up here and I refresh this page, I can now see the bucket, go into the bucket, and do whatever it is I'd like to do. Sometimes it takes refreshing the page. So we can see now that I can access cloud storage because it's no longer a restricted service in the service perimeter. Again, seems like a pretty big deal. We do want to be able to get to the console or to these services in the console. So how do we do this? How do we create the situation where no matter what the service perimeter is, we allow users through the service perimeter? In order to do that, we'll add an ingress policy and an ingress rule that says from any identity, could be, or it could be a particular identity. So let me add a specific identity. And it could be from any source, or it could be, we can add the access level concept. I won't do it here, but we could add this access level so that the combination of the identity, the specific identity, and the specific location or source as defined by this access level would be what's allowed through the perimeter. In this case, I'm going to leave it all sources. So no matter what, that particular identity up here, no matter where it comes from, no matter the source, can get to all projects and do all operations, or I can select certain projects. So for example, I can add the VPC SC services project, add the selected projects, and I can add very specific operations. So I can only do things, for example, I can only do things with BigQuery. I'm not going to do this because I want, well, actually I am going to do this. I take that back. I forgot our cloud storage was outside of our service perimeter. So I'm going to add that in all methods. You could get more granular. And then I'm going to save this. So what this says is from my user, no matter where I'm coming from, though we could change a lot of this, I'm going to be able to get to this project, to this service, and do these operations with the service. And in this case, all operations are in this ingress rule. I'll save, gives me the policy and the rule. Confirm. And now as we scroll down, we can see that there is an ingress rule that allows just this. It allows me to reach BigQuery. So our expected behavior is now that we have this ingress rule, this user coming through the Google Cloud Console will be able to reach BigQuery. Let's test that. Come back in here and we're just going to refresh this page and see if we see dataset 1. And in fact, we do see dataset 1, and if we wanted to add a new dataset, call it dataset 2, we no longer get the error message that we got before. This is an important concept in VPC service controls. We do need to preserve access to these services in the GCP console. Note that, again, if you have a VPC service controls perimeter, it's not just enough to have permissions in IAM to reach these services and do operations. You also have to permit through the VPC service controls perimeter. I hope this helps.